Every one of us has been in a situation where we have a fabulous client and we are doing amazing work together and we are so excited and energized, and there are all of these pieces that we want to do because we recognize how they will make everything so much better. Enter scope creep. This is where things that are outside the original parameters of what you have priced as well as time boxed come up. And all of a sudden you feel torn because you want to add more, but you know that you haven't allotted the time for it. And to be frank, then you're not going to be paid for your time. Now, that happens on your end. It also can happen on the client end, where they recognize there are pieces that they needed to go alongside the work that you're already doing, and they somehow didn't realize until they were in it that there was additional complexity. So people come to this from a good place. They're being agile, they recognize that things change, and yet you find yourself at a crossroads. Are you going to do the work and not charge them for it? Are you going to do the work and charge them for it? Are you not going to do the work and explain that it's outside the scope? Or are you going to do the work and say that it is outside of the scope and you need to renegotiate the price? All of these pieces are kind of a complex mix. So here is what I will say for you to do if and when you find yourself in a scope creep situation. If the work is something that you want to do and you know that it will make it better, talk to them about the effort it will take to get the work done. Don't hold back being worried that if you bring it up to them, they're going to be angry or frustrated with you. They need to understand what it takes. You're the expert. That's why you've been hired. Have a conversation with them about the situation. Don't hide and do the work without telling them, hoping that somehow you will get rewarded for it in the end. Because the fact is, if they don't know you're doing it, how can they even be grateful for the work, let alone know that this is actually what it took for when there is more work to do in the future? You're not doing anybody a favor by doing extra work behind the curtain and not letting them know. So absolutely have the conversation with them that this is additional work that needs to be done. And you can make the decision at that point where you may say, this time around we can get it done, but we're going to need to think about a different scope next month. Or we can't do it because we're actually going to need a different person on the team. Or we're going to need a longer timeline, which is going to have a different expense attached to it. And I would like to discuss what that could look like for you. And of course, remember, if you're going to approach a conversation with them about scope creep, map out what it will take to do, both in terms of time, effort, and price, so that when you're talking to them and they say, okay, I see what you're saying, how much is this going to cost? You're not saying at that point, well, now that you're saying, okay, I need to go back and figure it out, right? As a person who brings a problem, you always want to have a solution. So the solution is, this is outside the scope. We can get it done, and either we can get it done for the current price, however, we're going to need more time, and we also wanted to let you know, or we cannot get it done for the current price. This is what the effort will take, and we want to discuss with you how you feel about that, or if you have another idea. Scope creep happens to every single one of us. It is not a failure on your part to map it out correctly. It is not something that I would ever want you to feel shame about. In fact, it's the natural result of diving into a project, getting into the specifics, and recognizing there is more that you want to add to it to make it really reflect you and your brand. Be careful of scope creep. Don't be afraid of it, and make sure you are always communicating with the client so that you can move forward together in a way that feels good for everyone.